Everybody's job will be impacted. Yeah. I'm surprised to this point that a self-driving car shouldn't have to get a license. That's a right? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Right? If your daughter needs to get a license, you don't think your self-driving car should get a license? Just put it on the road. I don't think any of you need an F-35. Can tell you need AI. None of you should have a nuke. If you're a college student graduating now...
Guys, Jensen Huang just got cornered when he tried to claim AI safety is just like building a safe airplane. He says we just need more sensors and backup systems, but the host hit him with a massive reality check. She pointed out that planes don't have a will to crash themselves, unlike AI, which can make its own autonomous decisions. It's honestly wild how Jensen just brushed that off. A plane is a mechanical tool, but AI is an evolving intelligence. The risks aren't even in the same league. It feels like he's using a simple analogy to hide a very complex and scary danger just to keep investors calm. Watch how he completely avoids her point and just pivots to better guardrails. Did he actually answer the question? Let's watch.
Pragmatist.
Okay.
I'm a pragmatist. And first of all, Becky, it's our responsibility as the industry to make AI safe. And the reason for that is because only we know how to do that.
How do you do that?
Well, there's a lot of technology you have to invent, and so this is no different than making an airplane safe. And so you have redundant systems, you have a fair amount of diverse sensor systems,
But it's a little different because the airplane can't decide to fly itself into the ground. I mean, do you think about putting maternalistic instincts into these large language models, or what are the ways that we make it like us?
Well, I was going to say, there are also guardrails.
Yeah.
And remember, the difference between today's chatbots and two-year-old previous chatbots, the guardrails have gotten so much better. And of course, you can't think of, as an engineer, you can't think of every possible way something could malfunction. And so you have to kind of try it out in the marketplace. There's no better way to become a better company or build better products than having people use it. And that's unfortunate but true. Today's planes and today's cars, today's healthcare systems can't be as secure or as safe as it is unless people actually use it. And so the guardrail systems are incredibly good. They still have places where people could cause it to do things that you didn't want it to do. But every time somebody does that, then companies go and fix it. And so I think that my bigger point is that it is the technology industry's job to make it safe. And of course, we have to make sure that people understand of the capabilities of the technology and that we use it in a safe way. We also need to have relationships with people, with other countries, so that we agree among ourselves that this technology is really powerful and capable, and we ought not deploy these things against each other. And so we do that in a whole bunch of other places, in chemicals and nuclear, and so of course we could surely do that in this case. But the big point that I want to make is it's our job as the industry not to scare everybody, but to let everybody know this is important work and we're dedicated to it and we're serious about it. And we have to hold ourselves account. The one thing that I am worried about is the worst outcome for AI for our nation is not that another country gets AI. Everybody should have AI. The Global South should have AI. Every single country, everybody should have AI. It empowers them, it lifts them, it elevates them, it gives them superpowers. Of course everybody should have it. My greatest concern is that we scare United States people, all the people that we're telling these science fiction stories to the point where AI is so unpopular in the United States, or people are so afraid of it, they don't actually engage it.
That we lose our lead as a nation.
That's right. Ultimately, you remember, the United States benefited from the last industrial revolution for a good reason. Not because we invented it, but because we applied it.
He just made a wild comparison between AI and nuclear bombs. He told a room full of investors that while no one should have a nuke, everyone needs AI. Jensen explained that new models are being trained to write and debug code perfectly, making them the ultimate tool for cybersecurity since security is essentially just code. But honestly, this is a massive double-edged sword. If AI is smart enough to find every bug to fix it, it's also smart enough to exploit it. Jensen is describing a digital master key that can hack into almost anything, yet he's acting like it's just a helpful tool. It feels like he's downplaying the fact that we're building a super weapon and just calling it software to keep the market happy. Let's watch the clip and see if you catch the danger.
The way you can test it is this, a simple test. 100% of everybody I'm looking at in the audience, and I can't see most of you, but 100% of you, even without seeing you, I can tell you, you need AI. None of you should have a nuke. I just did the test.
That is a good line.
It's the test. It's the simple test. I don't think any of you need an F-35. First, take a step back and ask yourself, what's Mythos? Mythos is a really great model. But what's really important is Mythos is a model that was designed for coding. Now, remember what cybersecurity is. Code.
Yeah.
And if Mythos can debug software, can test software, can write software, for what reason can't Mythos debug cybersecurity, test for vulnerabilities, so on and so forth? Because it's just code. The way you defend against a super force is not with another super force. It's with an abundance of cheap force. And so the best answer for Mythos is actually open source.
Okay.
Open source so that we have swarms of white blood cells.
Yeah.
We have swarms of white blood cells. And these white blood cells are trained to detect and alert us of threats. And the moment that it detects threats, it figures out where the threat is coming from and closes the door. And so you can't count on the fact that your AI is better than their AI. But you can count on the fact that you got more AI than they got. That you can count on. And the reason for that is because there are more companies and more front doors than any threat. That threat has to decide which front door to focus on. And so the number of defenders we can have, so long as they're open source, because open source is cheap, open source models are very good now, and we can run all of these open source models trained on defending ourselves. And that's the swarm, the dome, if you will, the cybersecurity dome. And so that's the answer. But the doomers want to scare you. Yeah. I've got the world's biggest weapon, so what's your answer? And you kind of think, my only answer is another big weapon. Well, it turns out asymmetry is what you're looking for.
Guys, Jensen just went to war with the godfather of AI, Geoffrey Hinton. When asked about Hinton's warning that AI has a 20 to 30% chance of ending human existence, Jensen called him completely wrong. He argued that we have enough smart people working right now to make sure that catastrophe never happens. But guys, this feels like classic big tech gaslighting. Hinton spent his life building this tech and is now terrified of it, while Jensen is making billions because of it. Claiming smart people will fix it isn't a safety plan. It's a marketing slogan. It's incredibly arrogant to dismiss a Nobel-winning scientist just to keep investors from panicking. It feels like he's prioritizing his stock price over the actual survival of our species. Now, let's watch the clip and see if you buy his excuse.
I'm surprised to this point that a self-driving car shouldn't have to get a license. That's a right? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Right? If your daughter needs to get a license, you don't think your self-driving car should get a license? Just put it on the road and see if it drives. Makes it go through all the tests. And make the teacher sit on the other side and yell at it while you're...
Geoffrey Hinton, who was the godfather of AI and who says that there's a 20 to 30% that it ends human existence. Is he completely wrong? And is he completely wrong that there's no chance, or is he just wrong in his percentages?
He's completely wrong that a whole bunch of smart people aren't working to prevent that from happening. Because you could apply everything that he said to all the circumstances in history. It's because there are so many good people working so hard to prevent these things. There are so many people working on making cars go faster, but there's 10 times more people trying to make the car safer. There are so many people trying to make AI smarter. There are 10 times more people working on keeping it guardrailed and safe and, not hallucinating and producing useful work. And so I think the part that's kind of missing is they kind of project themselves that they are the only person who's worried about this. They forget that there's a whole bunch of people in the world, a whole bunch of computer scientists in the world who are trying to make the world a safer place and better place. And so with respect to there are some other things that were said. Like, for example, and we have to be careful, they in all of their good intentions, they think they're warning us. But we have to be careful that if we scare people, we're actually hurting us. So let me give you a tangible example.
Okay.
A tangible example, and this is the one that it was the first prediction. A very, very well-known, very important computer scientist said, the first job that's going to be wiped out is radiology. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is because computer vision does an incredibly good job studying scans and looking at images and detecting things that we can't detect. Obviously, it can. And so computer vision is now completely superhuman. At that one narrow task, no human in the world can do a better job. Stay concentrated for as long, find anomalies as small. And so today, the computer scientist is absolutely right. A decade later, 100% of radiology is now infiltrated by AI. It is completely integrated into radiology. And so that was completely right. However, what was completely wrong is that radiologists, that job, as predicted, was not wiped out. And the reason for that, surprisingly, is the opposite to them. To me, is completely obvious. So what happened was, radiologists could now study more scans, they can take more patients, they could do more scans on the patients, diagnose disease better, they could accept more patients, the hospital is making more money, the radiology department is one of the biggest profit-generating centers now. As a result, they want to hire more radiologists. Now, if it turned out that everybody listened to him and the world has no radiologists, we would be short of this incredible critical resource. We should be telling radiologists, your purpose in life is not to sit in a dark room, to look at a workstation, to study a scan. Your purpose in life is to work with doctors, help treat patients, to diagnose the disease, make people well. That's your purpose in life. Studying the scan is just a task you do. And so the fundamental thing that everybody is missing, all these computer scientists are going, yeah, that job is done, that job is done, is that they misunderstand that the purpose of a job and the task of the job are related, not the same.
Yeah.
If you were to apply that to me, the task that I do 100% of the time is typing and talking. And talking and typing are both completely automated and completely superhuman. I should be out of a job.
Jensen just sent a chilling warning to every college student graduating today. He's claiming that if you aren't an expert AI user, you are guaranteed to lose your job to someone who is. I think Jensen is conveniently shifting the blame here. By framing mass unemployment as a skill gap, he's ignoring the fact that AI is being built to replace entry-level roles entirely. It's a genius business move. He's creating a culture of fear where every student feels forced to use the tech he sells just to survive. He's basically telling us to get on board or get crushed, while he's the one driving the steamroller. Is this helpful advice or just a billionaire protecting his empire? Let's watch the clip.
Everybody's job will be impacted. Yeah. Let me just give you one example. If you're a college student graduating now, if you graduate and you're not an expert AI user, you're not going to take a job from another kid who's graduating who is an AI expert user. That's a dislocation. Yeah. A skill that was not necessary yesterday, today, essential. Right. And yet, if you were a young college graduate and you're an AI expert, tell me you're not going to get hired. We're going to hire, right? Isn't that right? And so all of a sudden, the demand for someone who uses AI versus someone who doesn't, that's a classic job dislocation. Now, of course, there are some jobs that are just basically the task. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're just answering phone calls. Now you could use AI to answer that phone call. And, like when you call a restaurant these days, I don't know, I think there's all AIs, isn't it?
Yeah,
and so,
mostly.
yeah, so the person who's at the reception who picks up the phone in the past to take a reservation no longer has to do that. So they can take care of a customer instead of having that customer wait at a restaurant. And so I don't know that every job will be impacted. Many jobs will be created. Some jobs will be eliminated, but every job will be impacted.
It is clear that Jensen Huang is the ultimate salesman for the AI revolution. Whether he's telling graduates to adapt or die or dismissing the godfather of AI's warnings as completely wrong, Jensen has one goal: ensuring NVIDIA stays at the center of the universe. Find it incredibly telling that every one of his visionary takes perfectly aligns with NVIDIA's bottom line. He wants fewer regulations, more global sales to China, and a workforce that feels forced to use his tech just to stay employed. He talks about AI safety like it's a simple mechanical fix, but he's ignoring the soul of the problem. I think we need to stop taking career advice from the guy who profits most from our displacement. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.